Hi, I'm Karen Anderson, Maidu student and creator of the Maidu board game, honwedom. This video is an overview of the game and how to set it up for the first time. This game is dedicated to my teacher, the late Farrell Cunningham. He encouraged me and helped me develop the game for our Maidu class. Our class used to play it when it was just paper glued on cardboard, like this. You can see the cards glued together. Here's coyote cards. And the things being thrown into the gambling pot: deer skin, milkweed, sinew, basalt, meat, and yew. After Farrell passed, I had to decide what to do with the game. Maybe people would want it as a language learning tool. So instead of letting it go to waste, I made it into a mass-produced game in case anyone is interested. The name of the game is honwedom. Honwedom means life, living, and survival in Mountain Maidu. Mountain Maidu country corresponds to present-day Plumas and Lassen counties in Northern California. The main purpose of the honwedom game is to learn and practice using the Mountain Maidu language. You'll find yourself picking up words right from the start and then becoming more advanced the more you play it. A secondary purpose of the game is to learn about Maidu pre-contact culture. You will learn some of the uses for plants and animals and how they were obtained. You'll learn what it takes to make tools and other items. You'll learn about being prepared for your survival needs and also being ready for cultural expectations, which can be a matter of life and death. You'll also learn some of the steps you need to take to master a traditional skill, such as being a dancer, doctor, or basket weaver. So what's in the box? When you get your game, this is what it looks like in the box. You have product and material cards, lots of these, all out of order in these little plastic Ziplocs. These are all the plants, animals, tools, ceremonial items, and natural resources that you'll need for the game. And we'll go over those in a minute. You have your people and dice. You have your coyote cards and your halai cards, gambling cards. You have your number shards all ready to be punched out and used. You have your skill cards, instruction booklet, and a folding out board game board, like that. I'll talk about the board first. In some ways, the game is like Monopoly, so I'll start off by pointing out the similarities. Tetem Koyo, the big meadow, is like Go in Monopoly. That's where you start when you start playing the game, and every time you pass there, you get something. Yehepti, misfortune, which can also be thought of as illness, is another corner, which is sort of like jail in Monopoly. If you land on bear or rattlesnake and you don't have protection, you're injured, so you have to go to Yehepti and hope you recover. If you land on feast, moto, and you don't have food for the feast, that's such a faux pas that you also get sent to Yehepti for that. Notice that feast and rattlesnake and bear are red on the board, and that shows you that there's a bit of danger there. In Monopoly, there are chance and community chess places on the board, and if you land there, you have to pick up a card. In honwedom, There's wepa, meaning coyote, and we have coyote cards. So if you land on wepa, coyote, you pick up a card and do what it says. The cards are in Maidu and English. And this one's telling me I have to have a jackrabbit skin for a salawi, a rabbit skin blanket. If I don't have it, I have to go to Yehepti. So that's where being prepared comes in and having what you need. Some of the cards are things like telling you to go to a certain space or go back 3 spaces. Some of them are good cards that you want and some not so much. If you can't get out of Yehepti by rolling doubles within 5 turns, you're out of the game. Being in Yehepti is like being sick or injured and not knowing whether you're going to recover. Another corner of the game, and I'll turn it around, is honwedom, the bear dance. If you land on honwedom, you get protection in the form of munmuni, which is wormwood. This will protect you 1 time from either the rattlesnake or the bear landing on it. The 4th corner of the game is wepamsu, dog. If you land here, you do get a dog, wepamsu. This dog can help you with hunting if you don't have a net or if you don't have the right thing to get a bird or small animal. You can use your dog to help you hunt. Also, if you land on bear or rattlesnake, you can sacrifice your dog and run, and then you don't have to go to Yehepti. If you land on Helai, you get to gamble. We start the game off by putting something in the gambling pot, which is the middle of the board, and that is a bow. Since a bow is kind of tricky to make, it would be great to win one. The gambling pot builds up faster in the game with every product that people use going into it. So if you use the net to get an animal, you put the net in the middle. If you use a trap, you put the trap in the middle. If you use a knife, that goes in the middle. So you end up with quite a few things in the middle, which is the gambling pot. The gambling cards, Helai, are just like in hand games, 4 possibilities of which hand the banded bone is in, and they're in Maidu in English. So when you land on Helai, you guess, before you pick up a card, which hands the bones are in. The possibilities are left, right, middle, and outside. So I'm going to guess right hands. Nope, it's Estodi in the middle. So I don't win. And the gambling pot continues to build until somebody wins. In Monopoly, the banker handles the money and real estate cards. In honwedom, we can call this person the banker even though there's no money. You need a banker to get the cards for the players throughout the game. In Monopoly, the banker gives each player a certain amount of money at the start of the game. In honwedom, the banker lets each player choose 6 items out of the meadow. And remember, the big meadow is where you start the game. Right here, the big meadow. And the banker will pass a tray of all the possible cards they can pick, and they get to start with 6. Then every time going past, they get to pick 3 more because they're going to be using those cards. So, just like in Monopoly, where the real estate cards and money have to be organized before the game starts to find them fast and give people change, the banker in honwedom has to be super organized. You don't want to slow down the game looking for a card player needs. So here are just some of the cards that you need to have in an organizer, which we'll talk about a little later. If you land on a blue space on the board, you can get that item if you have what you need. So you'll notice, and I don't know if you can see it in the video, but at the bottom of each item that's blue, it tells what you need to get it. Whether you need a knife, a net or a spear for the salmon, whether you need a bow and arrow for the deer, and so forth. So if you land on Hispam Chupi, here I'll turn the board again. If you land on Hispam Chupi, which is willow, you need a knife, chami, to get that willow. And if you had picked up boso in the Totem Koyo when you went past, you're all ready to make a knife. You give it to the banker, and they will give you a knife in return for that boso. You put the knife in the middle, and then the banker gives you the card for Hispam Chupi, willow. And similarly, if you land on flicker, and we'll talk about in a minute why you need some of these cards that you might not realize yet, why you need a wululuka, flicker. Says I need either a trap or a net. Well, both of them are made out of pumi, milkweed, which you get, you know, it's a green card. You get it when you go past Totem Koyo. So you give the banker the pumi, which they put back, and they will give you the net, the trap, put the trap in the gambling pot, and the banker will give you your wululuka. So that's how the gambling pot fills up. So unlike Monopoly, there's no exclusive ownership of any item. If you land on Chinkuti, jackrabbit, and you have a dog or a net, you can get that jackrabbit, but so can any other player coming after you can also get a jackrabbit. There's no need to thwart other players or try to make other people fail. It's all about your own preparation and survival strategies, and yes, a little bit of luck. So we talked about how to make a trap or knife out of resources from the green cards that you got in Totem Koyo, but you can also get resources from the board. So as you might have remembered, we landed on willow, Hispam Chupi, and we ended up getting the willow card. Now with this willow, I could make a basket. So I just hand this to the bank, and they will give me a card for a basket. Now, if I land on oak tree, and I have a basket, I can get acorns. So I turn my basket in and I get acorns. Now, some of these things you need them because a coyote card will tell you you have to have acorns, or you have to have salmon meat or something like that. And if you don't, you have to go to Yehepti. So you really want to make sure you get the things you need. There's two ways to win the game. Either you can be the last survivor. Everybody else has died by going to Yehepti and not being able to recover from that. Or you can be the first to fill out your skill card. So when you land on Pakani, which is a mountain lake right here, Pakani, you get to find out what your skill is going to be by diving into the lake and finding something in that lake that tells you what you're going to be. And you do that by rolling one die. Oops, let me roll it over there. Okay, I got 2, and on the space, I don't know if you can see it on the video, but number 2 is a hiska, a basket weaver. So that's what my skill is going to be, and I get a card for it. On one side of the card, it's in Maidu and has pictures of all the things I need to get to satisfy that skill. The back is in English. So for basket weaver, I have to make a maple basket, a willow basket, any basket that has red bud designs, and a basket that has fern root designs. And then I can show you some other skills. If I can find them, oh, here they are. So the other skills include dancer, which needs these regalia items. Trapper needs to catch certain things and have a fish trap. A leader, or headman, or chief, who needs certain ceremonial items. A hunter needs to have caught a deer and a mountain lion and needs some other items. Or a doctor who needs ceremonial items. To check off an item on your skill card, you use a number shard. And number shards look like this. I don't know if you can see those. But when you first get your game in the box, they still need to be punched out. So that's one of the preparations you'll have to make before you start the game. Now, as a basket weaver, I already had willow. If you have willow, you can mark off the willow basket, number 2. So I take a 2 and I put it on there. And then I'm working on my card. If I were a Yaponi chief, I need a flicker feather, and I already have a flicker. So that's number 2. I get to mark off 2. And also, if I'm a dancer, I need this flicker feather headstall. And if I have a flicker, I get to mark that off. I'll move these up so you can see them. Now, if you land on Pakani again, you can roll and get another skill. If you get the same skill you already have, you don't get anything new, but it's possible to end up with all 6 skills. So multiple players can also have the same skill. There could be another doctor in the game. There could be 3 doctors in the game. And the 5th item on all the cards is doing something good for another player. So a dancer, for example, can get somebody out of Yehepti just by dancing. Now, when they do that, of course they have to wait for a player to be sent to Yehepti, and then they have to wait for their turn. They can mark that off by getting them out of Yehepti, so they're just visiting. The 5th item on every card is something good you're doing for another player, and so that kind of encourages cooperation. If you are a dancer, or a doctor is another one who can get somebody out of Yehepti, and and there's another doctor or dancer in the game, and their turn comes before you, they might beat you to it, getting that person out of your hepty. And then you lose your chance until somebody else gets sent there. Now, you can have multiple skill cards, as I said, but you only need to win on one card. So if I have one flicker, I can mark that off on all my cards that need a flicker. So, but I don't need to have a flicker for each of these two cards if I'm a dancer and a leader. And then I only need to win on one card, so I just need to fill one card out. Now, if you land on trade, you get to trade outside the Mountain Maidu area. And I'll turn the board so you can see trade. There's only one on the whole board. And it's right there. And it's kind of a purple color, and the cards that go with it are that purpley color. If you don't have a skill, your chances are you don't need to trade anything because you don't know what you'll need yet. But almost all the skill cards require something that's traded outside the Maidu area. For example, a doctor needs a soapstone pipe, and soapstone comes from the Concow area. Also, a doctor needs an obsidian charm to wear around his neck, and that obsidian comes from the Pit River area. So if you land on honwedom trade, be prepared to have something to trade for these things, and it shows in Maidu what you need here to trade, and we'll show that in more detail in a few minutes. So one thing you can trade out is tobacco, which is for free in Totem Koyo. So when you pass go, you can get a tobacco, which you need anyway in case you land on your hepty and you're just visiting. You need to leave tobacco. But to trade, you need two tobaccos. Let's see, I have Pani tobacco. You have to have two tobacco cards because it's so easy to get it right out of Totem Koyo when you pass. You need two tobaccos, but anything else you're going to trade out, you just need one. So here are the different things that you can get from trading, and it depends on your skill which thing you'll need. So for example, you can get abalone, which you're going to need if you're a dancer. You need it for some of your regalia. You can trade for obsidian, which you can use for arrowheads. A hunter needs this. A doctor needs it for the charm. And then Lily, redbud, a basket weaver needs this because a basket weaver needs to make one basket that's decorated with redbud. Liani, clamshell beads, clamshell necklace. A Yaponi, a leader needs this. And Chilam O, soapstone. A doctor needs it for his soapstone pipe, and a hunter could use this for an arrow straightener. So those are things you can get when you land on trade, but what do you have to trade out? A bow would be excellent. Mountain Maidu bows were very highly prized. A large skin, such as a mountain lion, a deer skin, or an otter skin. I don't know if you can see that. Here are the two tobaccos, or a decorated basket. If you have a decorated basket, you could trade that. So it's a little bit hard. Oh, one more thing. Where's the other one? Sulalam Piwi. Sulalam Piwi is highly prized outside the area. This is bracken fern root used to decorate baskets, and that's also something you can trade out to get what you need when you land on trade. So you're going to want to sort your cards, because obviously there's a lot of cards to deal with, and it can be really confusing if you're not organized. So we'll take some cards out of here in the little Ziploc, plastic Ziploc, and we'll sort them by color. There are 5 colors, and we've talked about some of them. All these cards, the English is on one side, and the Maidu with a picture is on the other side. So we've got this kind of gold color. I'll call it gold anyway. We've got orange, which are the parts of things. We've got blue, which are the spaces on the board. And we've got the purple trading items. Gold are the products, the human-made products. And green are for the totem koyo. When you go around the board, those are the things that you pick up every time that can be made into something else. So these are the 5 colors, and you're going to want to sort them first, sort everything first by color. Gives you an idea what the cards are, what the variety of cards are. Pikuni, Makom Daku, Chami, Sawum Cha. Okay, now, just a few things to notice about the cards. The blue cards are the ones that go with the board. They have a little prayer that you can use to get the item. They show what the parts of the item is, if it has parts, like this mountain lion has meat and skin, and those are between 2 asterisks. And also what you need to get it, which shows a bow and arrow, pandaka and noko. Okay, so those are the blue cards. On the back, it has the English, it has what they were used for, and some translation of what's on the other side. The green cards that you get from going past Totem Koyo, similarly, a little prayer. It shows that this symbol at the bottom shows that when you're done using this, it goes back into the bank. It goes back into the meadow. So, on the back, use for it. Okay. The gold cards are the human-made products, like knives, baskets, nets, traps, bows and arrows, clubs, and some ceremonial items. Almost all the gold cards go into gambling, the gambling pot when you're done using them, with the exception of ceremonial items, which go back into the bank. The purple cards, which we've just talked about, are for trade, but one more thing to say about them. They can go into halai when you're done using them. They can go into the gambling pot. And there's a little part that tells where you trade. Downhill is the Kankau area. That's what that means, Bononan. And this is trading at the coast, where the sun goes down. The orange cards are the parts of the animals, birds, and fish, and you use this to give change to the players. The bank would use this to give change. So sometimes the coyote cards ask for just a part of an animal, like the skin or the feathers of a bird, or just the food part. There's a chinkutiwaka, that's jackrabbit meat, or just the fish glue from for making your bow. You don't need the whole salmon, you just need the glue part, or paka, sinew, from the deer. So if you get a coyote card, or if one of your skill card is asking for just part of something, you don't have to turn the whole thing in. You can get change from the bank. Okay. Oops. So the blue cards, I think I already talked about. So you're going to need something to hold all these cards. And the easiest thing is to buy organizers. This organizer came from Ben Franklin. You could get something like this at any craft store. And what you want to get is something like this that's about 7 inches by 10.5, has 18 compartments, and you want to go for something 1 to 2 inches deep. If you get 3 containers like this that hold 18, that should be enough for all your cards except the green cards. The green cards are kept separate, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So when you go to sort your cards, you already have your cards sorted by color. Now you want to sort them by each item. And you want to put them in your organizer in a way that you'll be able to find them easily. For example, you might want to put all the mammals together. Like all these animals here. And you might want to put basketry materials together. So it'll be easy to go right to them and find them when a player needs a card. And you might want to put foods together, and things to make a club or a bow might go together. And you might want to put your birds and fowl all lined up together. So obviously I'm not doing it too well here, but you can get an idea. And there's buklaka, there's panaka, and mahi, salmon. So now, if you want to get away from plastic or just save money, you could make your own organizers. So it so happens that you could make organizers that fit in the top or bottom of the box. that the game goes in, and that's big enough to hold all your cards. So you could use paper towel rolls, and here's an example. You notice a paper towel roll is just about the right size to fit in the box. Just fold it, cut along the fold, and stick it in there. And then if you staple them together, they're easy to pull in and out. And then you can put cards, oops, not those. You can put cards in just like that, going across. And if you have 7 paper towel rolls, it'll hold 35 cards in either the top or the bottom. So that's 70 cards right there, more than enough. Now, you could also do the same thing, just another idea. You could do it with a pasta box or some kind of small box. So, you have this Barilla pasta box that looks like that, you know, about 1 inch by 2 inches or so, and you just cut it lengthwise with one end open. And again, it takes just 7 halves. I just put my pasta in like a Ziploc bag so I could get all these boxes. And then you just put it in here, and then if you staple them together, then when you want to go put your game away in the box, you just take it out. But that gives you an organizer where you can put a bunch of cards. So, and it looks fine. Fits 35 cards in each one, the top and the bottom. And then you can easily find your cards. Just as good as the plastic one, right? Okay. Here's an example of cards that are organized, and each one is in a different type of organizer, so you can compare how they look. In the plastic organizer here, I was short 1 slot, so I put oak acorns together with oak branch, since you can get both of those by landing on oak tree. As long as you have what you need. To get the acorns, you need a basket, and to get the branch, you need a knife. Remember that you need 3 of these if you're going to use the plastic with 18 compartments. These are the homemade ones. Here, this one made of the box, out of the boxes. I have the orange card. You can see there's plenty of room. Like I say, it holds 35 different cards. You've got to put them really close together to fit 5 across and 7 deep. There was extra room because I'm using 3 organizers instead of 2, but really you just need the 2 organizers if you're going to make them yourselves. So about the purple trade cards, I spread them out because I had plenty of room. But the purple trade cards, there's only 5 things. So you could just, if you didn't have enough space, you could put them all in one slot. That's no problem. Again, with the ceremonial cards, I spread them out here because I had room. But these things, which only often have just 1 or 2 each, for the skills, you could put these in one slot if you wanted, if you were short of room. There. All these ceremonial items, usually only used at the end of the game. They could go in one slot. Green cards, the ones you get when you pass the big meadow, are not kept in the organizers with the other cards because players need to see what their choices are when they pass Totem Koyo. You'll need a container that can display 8 cards clearly and that can be shown to the players when they pass go, so they can pick out their 3. The top of an 8 carton is about the right size. Here's an example of how you could display the cards and still be able to hold on to the end. Two of the items, Sawom Cha and Manim Cha, which is buckeye and cedar, are only used for the doctor skill. So most of the time nobody needs those and they can just be put together. So I'll explain a little bit more about the green cards. There are some things that you just want to memorize right away. Pumi, milkweed, is what you make nets and traps out of. So nets and traps, you're going to use this a lot. So you always are going to need pumi when you go around the board. Boso, basalt, is what you need to make a knife. And you need it to make an arrowhead or a spearhead. Ekpumcha, manzanita, is what you need to make a seaweed digging stick. And you're going to need that to dig up roots that include food and include basketry materials like the bracken fern root. Lihamcha, fir tree, is used to make a spear shaft. You still need boso, basalt, to make the spearhead. Nokomcha, arrowwood, which can be either elderberry wood or mock orange wood, is used to make noko, which is an arrow. An arrow by itself doesn't do you any good because you need a bow, but when you start getting your bow ready, you're going to want to pick up some nokomcha and make sure you have boso to make your arrow. Now, there are some other things that you could get from Totem Koyo. One is hanani, choke cherry. This is the only food offered in Totem Koyo, and you know you always need to have food because if you land on feast and you don't have food, you go to Yehepti. So, hanani, choke cherry. You definitely want that until you start catching animals anyway and finding food on the board. Pani, tobacco. Tobacco is used for trade. You have to have 2 of them to trade, but it's also used to leave as an offering if you happen to land on Yehepti, but you didn't get sent there for doing something wrong. If you land on Yehepti and you're just visiting, you need pani. As I said, the manim cha and sawam cha are used to make a fire drill, buckeye and cedar, and it's only for the doctor skill. So if you have a doctor skill card, then you need that. You need that, otherwise you don't. The instruction booklet that comes with the game tells how to play it, including some of what you've seen in this video. In addition to some of the basic rules of the game, there are game variations you can try after learning the basics. The honwedom game can be played on different language levels. At first, while learning the game itself, you will mostly be speaking English, but you will start learning the names of plants, animals, tools, etc. from the card and boards. Each time a player moves his person, or Maidu, around the board, everyone counts together in Maidu, so you learn how to count. The numbers 1 to 12 are in the instruction book. Suti pene sapa chui, mawaka saichako tabibe, penchui mamchui, maischoko, maischokna suti, maischokna pene. You can also have a variation depending on how your family says it. For example, you could put M at the end of all those numbers. Sutim, penem, sapum, chuyum, mawakam, saichakom, tebibem, penchim, mamchim, maischokom, maischokna sutim, maischokna penem. Also, a lot of dialects have a different word for 7 instead of tabibe. They might have saichokna suti, which is saichoko 6 plus 1. Saichokna suti. So all those ways are correct. The last 2 pages of the book are devoted to the language, and there are the numbers in the instruction book, and there are also a lot of handy words and phrases that you can use while playing the game. For example, do you want it? Give me, your turn, and I don't have. It's possible to play the whole game using only the Maidu language. Players who want to practice reading the coyote cards and skill cards in Maidu can do that without trying not to look at the English. And that's another way to learn the language. One variation of the game requires players to say a prayer before getting an item. Now this is after you're pretty experienced. But on each blue card there's a little prayer that says, this one for the salmon, and the translation's on the back, "Come to me, salmon," is the prayer for that. And in this variation of the game, if a player forgets to say the prayer when they get their card, another player who notices can take the card away from them. Now that you are organized and understand the basic concepts of the game, you're ready to play. You can play as individuals, 2 or more players, or divide into 2 teams sitting across from each other. It goes faster if it's 2 teams, and it's a better way when you're first starting out to do teams. The instruction book tells you just about everything you need to know to play the game. I hope to make another video sometime in the future showing people actually playing the game. If you have not yet bought your game, you can get it online at thegamecrafter.com, all one word, or contact me for the link. Maidu people and your families, I have made a bulk purchase of 100 games. I have 80 left at this date, which is July 2020. And having made this bulk purchase, the price is a lot less for Maidu people and their families, so be sure to get it from me at the discount. Yahat tete wabiston makpai para minchum. Play and learn well.